But in any case, we do have a bunch of supports coming out of that chapter. First up, Clan and Etier, which is, again, kind of cool. Etier makes a useful support partner. Also, Alfred and Boucheron. So that completes his supports with his retainers, at least at level C. Etier and Boucheron. And Saline with Louis.
Is the
And we also have our minty fresh level 10 Marth Bond, which we're not really going to take advantage of anytime soon. Not on Alir anyway, because she already has her 1000 SP, and we're not. She's also pretty high level now. So, although she can now use Mercurius, she's not the most efficient user of it.
Over the years.
We like Saline a lot. Illusion Fox, having experimented with some stuff, especially beyond Chapter 6, I really enjoyed what Saline can do. Like, I don't think she's the perfect unit, but she can pull off a lot of awesome stuff early on, and she just neatly transitions into a useful role, even if her stats don't necessarily keep up for combat purposes. Let's take care of some errands here in the Somnia first before we get to any of the weightier concerns. We got all the conversations, so we just need to go pick up some of the loot. That's a spirit gem, which I think we only got because we interacted with Somnia in the last map. The stream has only convinced me further of Etier supremacy. Well, I think we can go ahead and start on this topic. I think it's pretty clear based on the way the experience scales and how you're rewarded SP-wise for focusing experience on your characters with emblems. The strategy, like, if it makes you really happy when you're playing these games to raise a balanced team, which I enjoy too. Like, I think it's more fun to play these games when you don't just build like one or two super units who do all the combat for you. I think it's more entertaining and interesting if you make a varied team that has other stuff it can do. I totally understand the temptation to like raise a bunch of different people and keep them all pretty even. But the way you do that in this game is not by training everyone equally all the time. It's by letting different people surge ahead. So we've been giving a lot of experience to Alir and then also Alfred and Saline. We're going to continue that kind of pattern for a bit, but I think the best way to get people like Boucheron and Etier up to scratch is to surge ahead with other units and then hand off all the really powerful emblems and stuff to those other units you want to train afterward. That makes it for a much smoother experience than trying to keep everyone trained up kind of evenly all the time. Anyway, I've got to check in with Sami. He's a very good boy. Your one disappointment of Maddening Fixed Growth is that it seems pretty unlikely to have a fun come-from-behind underdog story with a lot of growth units. Yeah, I think it is. My preference would be for the mid-game units to not be as good as they are stat-wise. There are certain unique things that the early units can do. It's not like they have no niches, but it's difficult to make them exceed what you can do with a lot of the mid-game recruits. And I wish that worked out a little differently than it does. Balanced teams tackle late game much better than just 2 carries or so. Yeah, I think that's probably true, Zone. Anyway, there's our steel ingot. Dog. And our milk. Yeah, I mean, my late game went fairly smoothly, with some exceptions in my first run, and I had a pretty balanced team. If you know what you're doing going in, then I think it is just correct to have like 3 main combat units. And that's it. Except, do you think Etienne could do almost the same things that Alfred could so far? Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I think there's a bit more stuff that he's better equipped for in the next chapter as well. But after that, he doesn't really...
Good for you.
Well, then there's even more stuff in chapter 7 that he's a lot better at than Etienne is. Let's be clear about that. But that's not for today. Okay, so we got the Somnia. We picked up the 1 pile of bond fragments. Let's go ahead and do strength training.
Very nice.
What'll it be?
Once again, we do want the strength bonus. Although it's not going to be that important in this battle because we're not focusing on training Alir in the next battle.
How hard do you want to go? Looking good.
I'm so good at this minigame.
Great job. I'm so proud.
Look at that, 100% success.
Let's do this again sometime.
Let's see, what else? Strength training, check, where's Chloé? She's in the cafe. Convenient. So, with that spirit gem we got, and 1 pretty pebble,
Wow.
we should get enough support points to unlock our sea support with Chloé, which will be really helpful very soon. Next up, we want to engrave. We're gonna go visit the Smithy for the first time.
Here's how the Smithy works.
In my opinion, the very best thing that you can get with your initial 100 iron that you got from having donated to Firene before Chapter 5, and then your 10 steel you got from Update Bonus 1, is to refine the steel sword into a 11 sword, which costs 100 iron and 10 steel. This is a stupidly powerful weapon for this point in the game that you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with. But you should not upgrade this yet. Engraving a steel sword is cheaper in terms of bond fragments than engraving a 11 sword. So if you want an engraving on it, you do that before you evolve it into an 11 sword. And I prefer holy on it for the lower weight. So if you engrave something and then you upgrade it, it does preserve the engraving. So we're not going to lose this. We'll put a holy engraving on our steel sword for 200 bond fragments. It would be 300 if it were 11 sword. And then refine it afterward. Cool. So now we have a 14 might, 10 weight magic sword. Awesome.
I'll be here.
After that, we're ready to go to the arena for the first time. Who gets the sword? Initially? Not who you might think. We're going to do some standard training first. As it happens, Etier is at level 4.69. So if she were to train up 3 times, she would have 1 experience remaining until her next level. And Etier gains HP on her first level, which is super convenient. So we're going to put her in the arena 3 times. Now, she does have a bond ring equipped, so she is going to get 15 SP out of this as well. But I do expect her to fail. She's not very well equipped to win arena battles, but there's a chance.
I am Etier, a royal knight of Firene.
I have been waiting for this.
I really thought I had you.
The only difference between winning and losing, by the way, is which achievements you get. So it's better to win, but it's not that critical.
Etier here, busting in once again.
Deltai, your
I
poor
am
clan is
Chloé,
still in level
Royal
1.
Knight of
Yeah,
Firene.
don't feel too sad about that.
Oh dear. This knight has met her match.
My muscles deserve a treat after that.
My current plans for the upcoming chapters is Jean Paralog expended for any relevant benchmarks. Well, I will tell you that so far, where I've gotten as far as planning goes, I have not expended Jean's Paralog.
I am Etier, a royal knight of Firene.
Saline has arrived.
I really thought I had you.
But Septi, I should mention, you saw that the support up notification. The mod I have for the arena makes it so that you don't actually get support points from it. So even though you still get the message saying support increased or whatever, it doesn't work. You don't gain supports. The only reason I'm doing that is so that I don't get extra support ranks in these early chapters that I wouldn't have without getting lucky with my matchups in the arena. That's why I've done that. Next order of business, we're going to do some emblem training with Chloé and Marth. So Chloé cleaned Marth's bond ring before our last mission, and that's why she's like a third of the way to level 2 with him. I'm not totally sure how much value, like, as far as the bond rewards you get from cleaning, I'm not sure it's totally deterministic. It might be randomized a little bit. I've seen fluctuations, but I haven't like tracked on individual rings between individual chapters doing the exact same actions, whether they get the same amount. But I've seen fluctuations in terms of how dirty they are and how many points I end up getting out of it from doing it at different chapters. So I don't know all the mechanics on that, but it does seem to give you... Actually, let me check. I did this once before and wrote down exactly how many points this cost. No, okay, so last time I did this, it cost 373, now it's 364. So I think there's just a random factor in terms of how much bond you get. But anyway, polishing the ring makes this cheaper, because you get discounts if you've made partial progress toward the next bond rank. So we can buy our way up to level 5 now.
This should be a picturesque match.
I am Marth,
And she's going to get owned by
Prince of
Marth.
Altea.
Yeah.
Oh dear. This knight has met her match.
Polishing rings is only doable after 4. So
Talking to the
you can go to
emblem
the
watcher.
ring
enjoyed our
chamber
chat.
after 4. You can go to the arena after 5. But anyhow, we've just raised up to level 5. Every level of training in the arena from between level 5 and level 10 costs not 100 bond fragments, but 300. However, that also means if you get another 1/3 of a level from ring polishing, that saves you more bond fragments now than it did before. So to make sure we're preserving as many bond fragments as possible, we're going to go over to the ring chamber and polish our rings now, and then go back and do more ring training with Marth.
It will take some work. It's already clean. It's already clean. Thank you. The ring looks amazing.
So just to check there, that got us about a third of a bond rank again. Celica, we're going to use Alfred.
I hope you'll clean it well.
Finding the spot you want does get more points. That may be true. I can't empirically corroborate that, but it's also just a real pain to find the right spot. I don't care that much. This is sufficient. And then third, Sigurd. We're gonna have that done by Saline this time.
Handle that gently.
Would it be better to not polish ring last chapter? I don't think so.
Is that not a
I
waste
don't
of
think the
time?
accumulated dirt
I appreciate your upkeep of the ring.
outweighs the... Like, as far as I can tell, when you leave it dirty for a while, it doesn't necessarily mean you get twice as much. Like, if you leave it dirty for one map, it doesn't necessarily mean you get twice as much bond ring next time. Anyhow, we've done that. We'll go back to the arena. We should now have enough bond fragments on hand before we go visit or before we go pick up our achievement rewards. To do, yeah, we should have that. Do the training with Chloé and Marth all the way to level 10 now. Yep. So it's important to ask, why are we doing this for Chloé? Obviously, the goal is to get someone new with Mercurius. Chloé is our lowest level person who can use Mercurius well, because in her case, she's really, really fast. So Mercurius has a 12 might sword that only weighs 7. It's like a silver sword, but extremely light. It still slows Chloé down a little bit, because Chloé has only 5 build. But if we put Marth on her,
Let's go.
then with Mercurius, she has 22 attack and 13 speed, which is incredible. That's way better than just about anyone else can do. Like, without a ring, Alir's at 17 attack. With Mars, she'd have 19 with 14 speed. With Mercurius, of course, Alir would be better too. But this is just extremely strong. Chloé is really, really fast. With Mercurius, again, 13 speed. That's a lot better than the likes of Boucheron or Etier or Van or Fran or Louis. Or even Saline. Right? Yeah, she's a little bit faster than Saline right now. Higher build and 2 more raw speed. And she flies, which is extremely important for what we're about to do in Chapter 6. So, I think for Chapter 6 in particular, Chloé is definitely the best person to have Marth. She's extremely mobile. She can cross over different parts of the map that other people can't. She does a lot of damage with the Mercurius, and she can pull off some really impressive stuff if you give her the right support. So that's what we're going to do in our next chapter. But the question is, do we give Alir an emblem ring now? And if so, what? In Chapter 6, Alir is isolated. She's stuck on the top side of the map next to Yunaka. And when you acquire Micaiah, that will automatically go to Yunaka. So Alir has a certain segment of the map all to herself, really, with Yunaka supporting her, if you want to do that. Which is fine. You could, like, give Alir Sigurd, or even Saline, just for the extra SP you can get as you mow down all those enemies. But also, Alir already has the SP she needs. She's pretty close to promotion level already. There's not a lot for her to gain from taking a bunch of the kills on that map. Really, we're better off having Chloé cross over to the north side of the map where Alir has all those enemies to fight and giving those kills to her instead. So we'll talk about that more when we actually look at the map, but I think we just give Alir a bond ring, have Alir do some really tiny chip rolls in chapter 6, and then come back in chapter 7 to do, or after chapter 6, to do some more work with a real ring again. Right. So we have a few more things to take care of before we leave. We need to go get our achievements, although they're not actually necessary for anything else since we finished all our training. Just want to track where we are in terms of bond fragments. Yeah, Septi, it's pretty clear that they intended the north side of chapter 6 to be for Alir to go eat, but it turns out Chloé can eat that too. Oh, one other topic here is donations. We do have the money now to raise Furionate to level 3. I do not think that is worthwhile right now. If you want to invest money early, taking Furionate to level 2, definitely do it. It's great. Gives you the extra early Levin sword. And it just boosts your rewards for these next few chapters and paralogs nicely. If you want to invest more to get more ingots from after this point, top priority is Brodia, not Furionate. So wait till Brodia. Anyhow, we got a bunch of achievements now. You can generally expect, if you've done exactly what I've done, to get all of these except maybe for fight now, or maybe defeat an ally in the arena. We got kind of lucky that Etier was able to fight Chloé and win that. Most of the time she loses. So we could be like 10 fragments short of this. Have only 425. Oh no. And in fact, you'd probably have more because you probably have gotten a few critical hits at some point and gotten those achievements as well. Would this be the chapter to put the spur attack ring on Alir then? Sort of, although it doesn't work out in such a way that we need that or that it would really help us. We do want to boost Chloé's attack even more. But the way we're going to do that, by hitting up the item shop again, and this time buying the HP tonic, the strength tonic,
I thank you.
and although this probably isn't totally necessary if you make some adjustments with also the speed tonic.
I thank you. Do come
So
again.
before we apply those, we'll go look at the map and explain what those are for. We do also need a torch over here for Clan to carry.
I thank you. Do come again.
Right, so Emblem Rings wise, we do have Marth on Chloé now. We'll talk about the rest of that when we get to the map. And yeah, I think I've covered everything on my list. Okay. There would be an even easier way to boost Chloé's strength this chapter in changing Alir's gender. Yeah, there is actually a kind of cool thing you can pull off with male Alir that you can't do with female Alir in chapter 6. But I decided to set this up so that's not relevant. Has female Alir so far mattered? No. Is Illume Staff worth it for staff XP or probably not? I don't think so. It would be somewhat helpful on, like, a cool thing you can do with the Illume Staff is have Yunaka use it with Micaiah engaged because that increases the visibility range by 5 as well. But otherwise, I don't think it's worth spamming it for the staff XP on Ram, of all people. And Yunaka can get even more experience by using Ment instead of Illume. Right. As you can see, we've got Alir and Yunaka up in the north. There is a barbarian right here that we can't see until we start the map. For whatever reason, they don't give thieves their bonus visibility. Well, I guess Yunaka's not a blue unit right now, so we don't get to benefit from her extra sight range as a thief until we actually start the mission. But once we do, we'll be able to see the barbarian here. Once you kill this barbarian, that's when you get Micaiah, and she auto-equips to Yunaka. So really all Alir has to do, like if Alir had Marth, then she could just one-round the enemy and get that experience for herself. But without Marth, she can just attack, break with a sword, and then set up the kill for Yunaka, and that works fine. Did I swap genders in the Train Everyone Conquest run? I did. But anyhow, I do wish there were a few more enemies we could look at to explain what the stat thresholds are. But one of the major ones is being able to kill the thieves, especially these ones with melee weapons, on enemy phase in one round. Really hard to do that normally because you probably, I mean, no one has 32 attack to just one-shot them. So you try to double probably, and that would take 19 attack with the ability and 18 speed. 18 speed is also really hard to hit. Chloé's not there. 13 plus 2 is where she's topping off. With speed tonics, you get to 17, but not 18. And certainly not with the Mercurius. However, with Marth, Divine Speed, you deal an extra attack at 50% damage. So, if you can hit for 18 on the first attack, and then 9 with that extra bonus attack from Divine Speed, that also kills. What does it take to deal 18 damage on one hit? Against 6 defense, it takes 24 attack. Chloé has 22 attack with Mercurius at base level, level 6. Which means, if you give Chloé that strength tonic, she's at 24. And when she has Marth engaged, she one-rounds thieves, which is awesome. Now that said, Chloé's not that bulky, and if she's one-rounding thieves on enemy phase, that means she's getting poisoned as well. We do need to help her out on that front. We've used our only defense tonic, so the only alternative is that HP tonic we got, which is enough. Chloé has a good starting HP value. It just happens to get her exactly where she needs to be with an HP tonic. If you were desperate, you could also give her a Seraph Robe. I'm going to hold off on using stat boosters for now, because I kind of want this to be more generally applicable in case you want to save your stat boosters for a favorite unit or something. So that's 2 of our tonics. The other one is going to Saline. And I don't think I can show you... Maybe I can. Is there a... Yeah. So Saline has 11 speed with fire. Enemy barbarians have 8 speed. With a speed tonic, she doubles them. That's basically the answer. So if I wanted to preserve this speed tonic for later, like if I wanted to do some stuff in future chapter without relying on meal bonuses before beating chapter 8, I probably could. But this is convenient right now. It makes this one part of this map go a little bit smoother than it would otherwise. So we'll go ahead and give the speed tonic to Saline. That takes care of the tonics. I'm going to adjust inventories right now just to make sure we have everything we need. Alir wants Liberation, the Slim Sword now. And the Levin Sword, obviously she doesn't need the Rider's Bane. Vander, Compact Axe, Iron Axe. We'll have him take the Steel Axe, although I don't think it really matters for anything. Plan, Fire, Vulnerary Torch, that looks good. Ram, Iron Body, Heal. She can go ahead and grab the Obstruct Staff. We're not going to use it. But it's nice for her to hold on to. Alfred, Steel Lance. Oh, he's not going to need that because she's going to be using Mercurius instead. Steel Lance, Javelin, Iron Lance, and a Slim Lance. Just get all the lances. Etier, of course, just has her bows. She's going to use the iron bow, not the steel. Boucheron, hand axe, iron axe, vulnerary, looks good. Saline, she actually wants to use a sword first and then fire. Armor Slayer doesn't matter for anything, but we'll hold on to it. Louis, Slim Lance, and his own javelin. No need for the Seraph Robe. And then Chloé is just going to carry Rider's Bane for fun, along with her Iron Lance, which she will need. All right. That's all the inventories. I'm going to reassign a Bond Ring away from Boucheron because he's literally not going to fight anyone in this battle. He's just going to stand around and chain attack. So we may as well equip that to Vander instead. And I do need to rearrange people in the formation here. Chloé, Louis, TA, Clan, Boucheron, Vander here, Fram there, Saline here, and Alfred here. Okay. So last thing to check in with is, do we stick with Sigurd on Alfred and Celica on Saline? I think Celica, yes, we absolutely just stick with Saline. Works great on her. She can go kill stuff with Warp Ragnarok, and that's very nice. And then Alfred, again, he's the only person who has momentum. Now, that didn't have to be true. We could have trained someone else in the arena. In fact, I think we do still have the bond fragments to pull that off if we wanted to. So you could reassign Sigurd to someone else by now. But what I find here is Alfred, now that he's trained to level 8, has the right stats to make really good use of Sigurd. He's the bulkiest unit on the team. He's actually equal to Vander in defense. And I think he's this like one slower. So, okay, technically Vander is bulkier, but it's the second bulkiest unit on the team. Louis has more defense than Alfred does, but he's simultaneously slower and also incapable of fighting some enemies on enemy phase. Like, Louis cannot fight thieves. Alfred can, because he has 12 defense, and Louis has 16, so they won't target Louis. There are sword fighters that we can't see right now. Also, will target Alfred, won't target Louis. Especially if you give Louis Sigurd, because then he'll get more defense and he'll be even less able to get targeted. So, it's like, Alfred has more bulk than anyone else, can actually gain experience unlike Vander. Gets to use lances other than Rider's Bane with Sigurd, which is really helpful in this chapter because there are, mixed enemies. There's like not only the thieves with melee weapons, but also other thieves that have regular daggers, not cards. There's also an archer over in this corner who's rather rudely tucked away, preventing you from just flying up here and killing stuff with Chloé. So instead of having Chloé go this direction, we're going to have Alfred take care of this group. And he can do that really efficiently with his javelin. So that's really nice. He already has momentum, he has good stats, he's higher level than most of our units, which isn't itself an advantage, but it means he's he's getting ahead of the curve, and that helps him in the next few maps if you want to use him there. So it's kind of a case where you just want to continue with what's already working, and Alfred has the right stuff to do it. We're going to see everything he could pull off, which is pretty substantial in this mission. Obviously, the star of the show is Chloé, for sure, but Alfred can do a lot of tricks with his combination of mobility and defenses and solid attacking power. I could see a world where maybe you pull it off with Etier instead or something like that, to acknowledge Septi's claims. I don't really see most other units doing well with Sigurd. Obviously, Saline could with 11 Sword. That makes for some really cool stuff with Override too. But having experimented with this a little bit, I think it works better to have Celica on Saline. Time being. We're not trying to get a whole bunch of kills where like Saline has to zoom across the map. That's what Chloe's for. So that's basically my thoughts on like how you should stick with the emblem assignments right now. Chloé has by far the most to gain from Marth in this chapter. She does awesome stuff with him. It works really well if you just stick with what's already working as far as Sigurd and Celica go. Alfred and Saline both use them really, really well. And they can support you for a really easy clear of this map as Chloé romps through like half the enemies by herself. So I really think that discussion opens up a lot more after this mission, where you've got Micaiah as well for power leveling purposes, and there's all sorts of like different stuff you can do with Marth and then with Sigurd and Celica that you can't do right now when your bond fragment's more limited and you've got some obvious candidates who are already well trained with Sigurd and Celica. So just to acknowledge some of the discussion going on in the chat, like I think Louis is pretty useful early on, but I don't think he's that useful with an emblem ring, especially not with Sigurd. What you want to achieve with Sigurd is to zoom across the map and be able to fight a bunch of enemies, and that works. Like Louis doesn't work well at that because he just doesn't get attacked, so he can go occupy a spot, but he can't really deal a lot of damage while he's there. And that's fine. Like, it's really useful to have a unit who just won't get attacked, that you can plug in a spot and a point and direct enemies a certain other direction. It's just not all that connected to training him yet. So yeah, he's really helpful. He's just not a worthy candidate of training at this stage of the game. You can definitely make him work though, and train him up here in a bit, especially after you have Micaiah. Because Fog, you can see Etier being a lot more limited here. Yeah, I wonder actually. So Etier still only has what, 10 strength? Alfred has this one more now. Otherwise, they're pretty close. From what I've seen with Sigurd, you're not really pulling a lot of Okos though. And I think Etier is clearly better equipped to, chip stuff for herself on enemy phase and then go override them for kills later. Milanus. Great Sacrifice is really strong for XP gain. It does give you more on armors because it also applies to every allied unit, at least for the first time until the buff gets used up. It's not hugely better on armors though. It's like you can get more than 100 SP from a single Great Sacrifice, but you can get like 80-ish on a good Great Sacrifice on anyone else too. So it's like, it gives them more, but it's not like game-breakingly powerful. Okay, so before we start this, any other questions in the chat? The armored bonus for Micaiah is when you use Great Sacrifice, it applies a buff to every allied unit that makes them take 1 less damage, or I think raises their defense by 1 specifically in their next round of combat. And it turns out you get credit for the healing if you apply that buff to a unit, even if they're not already wounded. So you can just Great Sacrifice turn 1 without doing anything, and you get full credit for healing every single ally. Which makes it, more turn efficient. because you can great sacrifice and get full credit for everything without having to actually set up a whole bunch of wounded allies to get healed. It's not totally irreplicable though. And the thing is, yeah, you're training in armor, and armor, I mean, Louis does fine at what he does, but not like a world beater later on. And it's not no investment to get Louis to promotion, because, you know, for those maps where you're assigning Micaiah to him, that does mean you're not assigning Micaiah to someone else. I don't think it's that critical, because I don't think there are that many units who are crucial to train early on. So if you want to do that with Louis, that's fine. But it's not like there's no opportunity cost for having him do it. And yeah, Eli Wagner, apparently you do get credit for great sacrifice healing the green units in Jean's Paralogue too. Alright, any other questions or comments right now? Or give you guys like a little bit to talk about stuff. Was there anything else I wanted to cover before we begin this? I think so. I guess since we're talking about Louis, like what other merit does Alfred's squad have? I think as Septi has been advocating, I think Etier can almost do what Alfred has been doing. I think Alfred sort of comes into his own after this map. Although he is better than Etier on this map and on the previous ones, I think. Etier has a lot of merit in herself for being a really strong bow unit. I don't think she's quite as good overall as some of the other really powerful warriors, but she does have really high strength, and can be competitive with those other warriors in some respects, partly because she has B rank bows as a warrior. Staying as a sniper or a bow knight, probably not very good. Do you know if favorite food works with the joke weapons? I don't think so. It would be really amazing if it did, though. Boucher, on the other hand, I just don't think he gets enough stats to make his whole gimmick work. So his thing is he has tons of build, right? The idea being, okay, he's an axe unit with a lot of build, so he's not weighed down by the really heavy axes. He can go maybe like double stuff with the silver axe or something. But doesn't, like, all build does is mitigate weight. If you don't have a ton of speed to back that up, it doesn't really make you fast. And Boucheron doesn't get a ton of speed. He's relatively fast for like axe infantry, I guess, but only in the same way that Diamant is relatively fast. He's not very strong. So he's kind of just worse Diamant, who starts at a lower level and is less effective in combat until Diamant shows up. So Is there any good way to address Etier's bulk issues later on? Not in the sense of like becoming a great enemy phase unit, I don't think. Like she does well because she kills things with her giant strength, and you can give her like lane support to make her really fast as well. But I don't know. Septi has experimented more with Etier than I have, but I don't think she gets like notably bulky. She probably gets enough HP and defense to take a hit, and if you give her speed support, she won't get doubled, so that's fine. But she's not going to be an enemy phase sweeper of any description. Yeah, I mean, bulk issues, as you said, bulk issues are not themselves a real late game issue with all the other mechanics you have to prevent yourself from taking attacks at all. But like, she's not going to become an enemy phase sweeper because well, I could see it as a warrior maybe, but that's not really her thing. All right, let's save here, and then we'll start the battle. Hello, Yunaka.
They're good. I have outward.
So obviously this map is a lot easier to handle with foreknowledge of where all the enemies are. For example, I know that there's an archer hiding right here, which is inconvenient. I also know like there's another archer at this spot and an axe fighter standing in the woods here. And there's a sword fighter over here, and an archer here. I've studied the map enough to know this. So obviously I'm prepared to do stuff that you wouldn't know to do in a first run. I certainly didn't know when I played this map the first time on stream. But because I know that stuff, I've been able to prepare some special maneuvers here. I'm going to start in the north, going ahead and retrieving Micaiah now. I like that with female Alir, you see a lot of blue on her standing around on the map. I've noticed that, and I think it's very nice blue.
What you got?
Now, unfortunately, getting that kill with Yunaka does deprive her of any SP for it because she gets the Emblem Ring after, but it's not a big deal. Right. So next step, it's really important that Alfred be at this spot, in this sort of southwest corner of the formation. After engaging Sigurd, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces to attack this barbarian from the right. So he gets not quite full power from momentum, but that lets him deal 25 damage with his steel lance. Then he backs away. So now this thief takes 16 attack to kill this thief in one more hit. And with the javelin, Alfred has 17.
Me?
So
Okay.
as long as we chain guard for him, he can finish off the barbarian without getting broken, and then also counterattack the sword fighter here and the archer standing over in this corner. We can weaken them both on enemy phase. Next up, we're going to light this beacon with Boucheron because he has nothing better to do right now.
For the divine dragon.
And then it's pretty redundant because we're just going to have Clan move here and activate his torch as well. This sword fighter also drops a torch, and I did experiment with ways to get him to drop this and then use that, but it just made for messier setups where I couldn't quite feed this kill to Chloe the way I wanted to without activating Marth on turn 1, and I want to save Marth and engage him on turn 2 instead.
Let me at him.
So, to allow Chloe to kill this sword fighter now, which she only does 16 damage without Marth engaged, we're going to have Etier attack first. And oh, actually, she does a little bit more damage. I should clarify. If Etier attacks first and hits for 8, then Chloé will get the +2 from Fairy Tale Folk, which is actually +3 total, with break defenses giving her the extra hit using a lance. So instead of dealing 11 + 5, she'll deal 13 + 6. So rather than 16 damage, she'll deal 19 damage, and that means that Etier can attack with the iron bow instead of the steel bow and still weaken the enemy enough for Chloe to kill. That also, with the arena training, lets Etier level up, and as I said, she gets 1 point of HP and nothing else. So after that, now we can kill the sword fighter using our Iron Lance. And this gives us that spare torch that we won't end up using.
Happily ever after.
Yes,
Move
here.
Vander and
Let us
Louis
be
closer, both of them. And then because we used used the torch within 7 spaces of this archer, we can see him now, and that means
Yes.
once Saline engages Celica, we can warp Ragnarok over here and kill him in 1 hit. There's also an axe spider lurking in the woods to the southwest of there, which Saline will be able to fight with her sword on enemy phase.
Allow your soul the rest it deserves.
And by doing it from the northeast, we've guaranteed that Saline can always run
Looks like we
past
got
him
some
on the next
uninvited
turn.
guests.
So we'll see that in a second.
Snuff the light.
Because the enemy's on the right, that barbarian and the sword fighter and the archer on the right hand side can all reach Alfred. None of them go and turn off the torch here, which is not really important, but it's cool. I'm gonna send the hammer to the convoy because there's no armors for us to fight here.
Looks like
Okay. Step 2. So Chloé or Etier's already been weakened thanks to her level. We're gonna get someone else hurt as well. Actually, 2 someone else's. First, we'll move Etier here, supporting Clan, and then Clan can just attack, dealing 0 damage, but hopefully getting himself hit on the counterattack. After that, Louis can do basically the same thing. So it is convenient that Louis does not get attacked by the thieves. Because now, when we move Chloé here, engage Marth, and then finish off that mage, she'll be in range of that thief and the barbarian you can see above, and they can only attack her. So Lodestar rushes with Mercurius for the double experience, and then she'll be able to fight both of those enemies on enemy phase and kill them both.
I won't let you do what you want.
Alright, so there's one engage attack for the turn. The other one is this. Taking Alfred around and overriding from above.
Raise your sword.
And then lastly, with our emblem characters, as I was saying, because we attacked that archer from the northeast as opposed to, say, 2 spaces to the east or 1 east or 1 north, we've pulled this thief to either this spot where he is now or otherwise here. And no matter which side he attacks Saline from, we can always run past
Will
him
not be cut down.
over to this position and attack with echoed fires, defeat him. What that does is it gives us visibility on, well, it gets us closer to where Saline eventually wants to go, and it also gives us visibility on the next enemy we're going to fight, I believe.
I want to help you.
Oh, actually, no, it's No. That enemy will move onto this square that she can now see on enemy phase. So we'll be able to see the enemy on our next turn. That's how it goes. Whereas if Saline were a little bit farther east, she wouldn't be able to see it. Therefore, she wouldn't be able to attack it. Otherwise, we got... we're just going to move Boucheron a little bit closer, staying out of range of the thief so that he's forced to attack Chloé. Ram can just run west. And Vander can move into this thicket. So we can't see it now, but there was another thief right here next to this beacon. That one can't reach Chloé, although this one can. So by moving Vander into the thicket here, we can weaken that other thief on enemy phase as well. Next up,
I've got this.
because Clan has the torch, we can see this next sword fighter on this pathway. We can't quite see that with
Let me show
Unaka
you
sight
how to use-
alone. That's 6 spaces from her. So now we can run over and just whack him with the slim sword. And hopefully get Alir wounded on the counterattack. I guess it's whack her with the slim sword situation. Last to act is Unaka, who can run all the way over here. Engage Micaiah.
Quick change.
And you may have guessed it.
With my
Use Great Sacrifice.
I have no choice.
So if you're counting, that was, I think, 7 heals? Not bad. So the Barbarian attacks first, luckily, and then Chloé survives this with 5 spare HP. She needed the HP tonic just to, because otherwise she would have been killed exactly. And also, if she does get hit by both enemies, then Unyielding gives her some HP back. We can restore some more using Fram, though. Now that she's patched up, sorry, the H is the game audio desynced. If that's the case, I'm not sure if I may be able to do something about that. Not desynced. Okay. Good. All right. Anyhow, now that Chloe's healed up, she can fly across this low wall, which is flyers only terrain. They did make a few different points over here where flyers can cross over. So specifically Chloé, that's it. Only flyer you can have at this point. One of those is here. The other one is actually way over on this side. If you do go up the right side with Chloé after taking care of the archer, you can fly across this low wall to end up basically where Alir and Unaka started and then catch up with them. But otherwise, this is your main access point. And from here, Chloé is able to reach this next barbarian and kill her.
I live to fight again.
That's Chloe's second level up on this map. Turn 3, by the way. Because Alir got wounded again, Unaka can mend her and then also mend herself at the same time, which is pretty nice. Also, it doesn't heal Unaka to full, which is another benefit, so she can mend herself twice in consecutive turns. Of course, there's no reason why we can't just have Alir get wounded again. And then because Chloé has a lot less defense than Alir does, and not much more avoid, this sword fighter will go for Chloé. Likewise with this thief, who again Chloé can one round because he only has a card. So let's put Boucheron here, Etier below Louis. We'll get some more chip in with Clan, earning some more support points potentially.
I'll take this.
After that, we can ride all the way over and kill off this enemy using our Limnets on Alfred. So Boucheron gives him some hit support as well.
I will protect you.
We're going to wait right here because this happens to be at the edge of the range of another thief. This one with a 1/2 range dagger. So Vander will trade with Alfred to make him equip a javelin instead of a slim lance. And we'll have Louis stand a little bit closer. So as I said last turn, we can now see this barbarian with Saline. She's able to take one step to the left and defeat this one with some echoed seraphims. There's actually another thief lurking either here or here, and thieves have enough movement to run through the woods and attack Saline. So by taking care of the archer, or by taking care of the barbarian first, we make sure that Saline can then fight the thief one-on-one. There it is.
Allow your soul the rest it deserves.
More free healing from Unyielding. So now we want Chloé to go fight both of these enemies. So I think we brought this up talking to Septi earlier on the stream. If you have male Alir, then you can activate.
Is it go time?
You can activate Fairy Tale Folk from here. And so one thing I experimented with on a different strategy for this map was activating Marth on turn 1 so that Marth runs out. Marth has already run out now on turn 4. And in that case, she can fly up by Alir. And then if Alir is male, she has enough power with a javelin, unforged, unengraved, to one round this thief. She does not have that with unboosted Iron Lance, but with male Alir right here, she could do that with a javelin. And that would let her fight. Actually, she probably want to do it from this spot, but that would let her fight the sword fighter in enemy phase and get much closer to recharging Marth really quickly. But anyway, I preserved Marth, so we have Marth active on turn 4 instead. We're going to fight these two enemies by just taking them both on enemy phase. Chloé to the left one space, Alir weaving through this path as best she can. And then we need Yunaka to target Alir with a mend that again hits 3 people. So we're making a lot of progress with Yunaka. And Chloé will kill both of these on enemy phase. Over here, we want Boucheron to go support us with some more chain attacks. We're going to start by having Louis strike this thief. That won't kill unless he crits. And he also won't get poisoned because he takes 0 damage. You have to take damage to get poisoned by daggers. So just a mostly free shot from Louis that weakens the enemy a lot. Alfred's going to finish him off. Before he does that, we'll move in Etier for the extra accuracy bonus. And then throw the javelin.
Let me have.
I appreciate it.
Alfred did activate Sigurd on turn 1. So his engage meter is almost empty. He just gets... Oh, actually, it is empty because he didn't... Boucheron stole the kill from him, so he didn't even throw his javelin, so he didn't gain anything on his meter, but he can canter south onto this emblem energy to get recharged anyway. So, Alfred's the only one with an emblem. We'd like him to do most of the combat. Only problem is he's a lance guy, this is an axe enemy, so what do we do about it? Well, we chain guard. Move Vander out of the way. Light this torch because we can. And then we'll switch him to his most accurate lance and chain guard. While Clan just moves a bit closer. Meanwhile, Saline can finish off this thief.
All in the name of peace.
Actually really nice that she ends up with 99 experience there. It's like 6 more than she would have gotten otherwise from this kill. If she'd actually leveled up to 9 on the previous kill. And hey, that's a really good level. Right, Chloe's wounded again. Yunaka can handle that. How much of a meme is it to break defenses on a martial master to build gauge? It's not the worst idea ever, but what are you trying to achieve with that? Like, your martial master can build gauge so that then they can reactivate Lucina and do 100% bonded shield some more? It's like, alright. But you could just have favorite food too. And yeah, it would only work on mages and archers and dagger units, of course. Anyhow, where were we? Heal Chloé. We'll move Alir up through this thicket. Chloé does not benefit from terrain, so she has way less avoid than Alir now. And Chloé can go attack this sword fighter right here. So enemy chain attacks do contribute to your engage meter, which makes it super easy for Chloé to regenerate Marth at this position. She just fights both of these guys on enemy phase, and bam, back to full. It's really convenient. What else? We'll have Etier move here. Similar to last turn, Louis is going to chip down this enemy.
I'll take this.
So that Alfred can move here and finish him off with a javelin.
Need some help? This is what I trained for.
So there is a sword fighter right here, just east of this thicket. Saline can walk over and just stand in these woods. She still can't see him though, but he could reach her. However, we're going to give him a juicier target in the form of Boucheron, who can also, use this opportunity to get wounded. He's not really fighting. So he'll just get broken. So Vander stays here, Fram goes west of Vander, and Boucheron stands south of Fram, which should be in range of that enemy. Clan can just wait at Vander's right side. Cool.
I always knew that not every fairy.
Wait a second. What? I missed something? That wasn't supposed to happen. Hold on. Okay, so I think there are a couple of different solutions to this. Yeah, I'm gonna quit and then restart the map from the beginning, but I am gonna equip Chloé with the javelin this time, and I think that solves this without disrupting anything else I want to do. The only reason to reset really is that I don't want to get extra achievements from doing extra combat, because I want to set up this file for later and see where we stand with bond fragments and what we'd want to do after this map. So, alas, the time crystal is not for me. Okay, so the only difference is we're going to trade Javelin away from Louis, who I don't think actually needs it. And that should be sufficient. Okay. Let's do that again. Okay, start by mending Chloé. That exposes the two sword fighters thanks to Yunaka's vision range. And now I think if we use the javelin instead, which still gives us pretty good hit rates, thankfully, we should be fine. Yeah, that's still strong enough to kill on the with her counterattack too, thankfully. Okay. My VODs of the game have been keeping you sane, Miss Mesmerism. Well, thank you. I'm happy to help. I'm familiar with what it's like doing kind of dissertation stuff. Okay. So now this should be fine because we can only ever face one chain attack from these sword fighters. And Chloé can survive that. Right. Eldir could still move up. Down here, we're going to do Etier here. Louis attack from the side. And now Alfred can finish him off.
Let me help.
We want Vander there, Ram here, Boucheron standing here to bait that sword fighter out of the darkness. Land's just that spot's fine, and Saline over here. Okay, much better. Ah. At this point, there's actually another axe fighter standing, I think right here. Yeah, right at this spot, and there's a mage over here. So, basically, the axe fighter's range is anywhere north or west of Chloé right now. We're fine with that because when we activate Marth again, we can switch to swords and fight on enemy phase, but we do have to heal Chloé again. Kind of wild that it took two entire levels to get just bond level 2 with Micaiah, because you don't seem to get extra bond points for giant great sacrifices or multiple men's for whatever reason. Anyhow, we'll have Chloé engage with Marth again.
It's just like my fairy tales.
And once more, your curious Lodestar Rush.
Forgive me. I live to fight again.
Alright, so the Axe Fighter is going to come out of here. He will die fighting Chloé. We do want to bring Alir closer next to Chloé. That will also be in the Axe Fighter's range. But if we equip our Levin Sword, we have more Avo than Chloé does and more defenses. So definitely he's going to attack Chloé. Down south, we want to give this kill to Saline this time. Since Alfred's at a higher level, we might as well give it to the person who can give more experience from it. So to do that, first we're going to get Boucheron out of here. He doesn't have to do any more fighting. Whatever little fighting he actually did. Clan can get himself wounded again. This does have a 2% crit rate, so if you're squeamish about that, don't look. Or don't try this at home, I guess. We already know I'm not going to take a crit. Oh, I did this technically in the wrong order. I should have had Vander move down by Boucheron first. I lost a support point there. Oh well. It's not that important to have B between Vander and Clan. So Clan does his attack, and then Alfred can go attack with the Slim Lance. Hey, level 7, can't be frozen. And that leaves, by moving south, we open up the space between Alfred and Vander and the enemy, where Saline can go and try not to miss with fire.
You were beautiful while you lasted.
So Fate's Brain Rot almost screamed, but minus 20 avoid. Yeah, I know. Like, daggers should break tomes. I still can't get that out of my head at all. Okay, where else? Oh yeah, there's the archer is 1, 2, 3, 4. The archer is right here in this thicket. So Boucheron is not in range, but we do want to pull him out. I believe the boss is on this tile, and the archer's here. So we want to pull the archer, and then that will lure the boss into the choke point right here. So Etier is just in range of the archer. Fram, I think we do need to heal Louis, actually.
Whatever
So let's
you
put
require.
Louis there, and then deal with Fran. Cool. That's an easy kill. There are only 3 enemies left on the map. There's that archer, there's the boss, and then there's this mage who just emerged from the northwest. It starts right here next to the beacon, so this mage will always end up on this tile, running straight at Chloé the fastest way possible. We could mend Chloé now with Yunaka. If we don't do that, we're just going to get the credit for healing with Great Sacrifice instead, which is less valuable. Actually, I believe Septi checked earlier today. I remember you writing that essentially Great Sacrifice counts as using a regular heal staff. Min staff does give more XP. But at this point, although we did reset the map so we could make sure we get the maximum experience on Yunaka, I'm not that worried about getting max experience per heal with a 1-for-1 mend. I would love to use mend on AoE heals, but I don't want to drain my mend uses just to get a tiny bit more XP than I would get from using heal on Chloé instead. So I'm just going to wait here without healing. So Alir does not have Canter. If we had bought it, then Alir could run here, go hit with the Slim Sword, and then Canter westward. Luckily, what Alir does have is a ranged sword, so we can just run past the enemy and attack from farther away in the first place. So the upside of getting past this mage and not ending up on the south side is, for one,
Let's be careful.
This is the closest. This is the square that Chloé can reach and attack with Mercurius from. That is closest to the boss. So if Alir was attacked from the south and occupied that, then Chloé wouldn't be able to reach the boss next turn. But also being this far west allows Alir to go support Chloé, give support with Divinely Inspiring and all that, which is also helpful. Slightly. We do one shot with Mercurius.
I won't let you do what you want.
Next up, we'll have Vander stand here. Boucheron move up 1 space. I do eventually want to build a support between Alfred and Vander, kind of. It's not that important again, but I run up here. I actually have enough power since I cantered south 1 space. The 1 extra point of momentum damage lets me kill with an override with Javelin.
Emblem Engage.
You missed the bond fragment spending in the chapter preps. Did it all go into Chloé? Yeah. All of my spending on bond fragments was in Chloé, and then also engraving the steel sword with the holy engraving. We had a few hundred left over, I think, after picking up our achievements, but there was not much. So anyway, kill with Javelin.
Raise your sword.
So guaranteed, and we get more bond points from this than we would from using a regular attack. Then move back south 1 space. Yeah, we want to get away from the boss because Louis is going to stand right in front of the boss, and I don't think he needs a javelin, hopefully.
It's just a scratch.
So we didn't really need to use the javelin for that. We had to be careful not to use the Rider's Bane for that override. If we use something else, we could just trade now. So Fran could run up here, trade with him, make him equip Javelin anyway, and we'd be fine. Also, Etienne can do the same thing. Louis is going to walk right up here to block Tyrande and make it so he can only attack Louis or Alfred. He does double them, or rather he does double Louis in particular, but he can't break him and he can't kill him. And apparently the AI really likes breaking, so he's going to go for Alfred instead. So I don't think Louis not having a javelin is going to affect this.
I'm okay.
And can just run over here. And Saline can use the other emblem energy pool. So everyone's gotten to use one.
A little late to be saving the day.
Yep. All right. Good deal. So as you can see, Chloé can reach Tyrande exactly. That's a full move away, which is very convenient. We do need to chip him down. So we're going to start by having Louis attack with the Slim Lance, which he doesn't get killed. It's very good. And then for our next trick, we'll engage Celica first.
Emblem Engage.
Trade the longbow over to Etier. Important that we engage first. And then warp Ragnarok to Tyrande's left side. And trap him from the other side.
My apologies.
Obviously she would die, but we do have Micaiah recharged, so we'll be safe here in a second as well. Actually, she has 6 defense and 24 HP. Tyrande has 28 attack. Saline will lose, because she has a tome equipped, she will lose 1 HP thanks to resonance if Tyrande were to attack her. But even if she did, she'd be at 23 HP after getting fully healed. Plus 6 defense is 29 total bulk, so she lives with 1 HP. Why not 1 tile up for Chloe support? You can't get it anyway. Like I can't make Alir and Saline adjacent and put Saline in range. And Alir's support is on Chloe is stronger than Fairy Tale Folk by itself. Poison on Saline. Wait a second. Oh, I think actually, no, you're right. There is poison, but I think the AI doesn't detect resonance in its forecast. That or Saline was supposed to level up and she didn't. Which would be unfortunate. We'll find out. If not, I can just switch and make her equip a sword. Same effect. I'm actually worried about that now. I don't... Neat. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think the AI detects that. I don't think it sees the damage from resonance before it decides who to target. We'll see. Because you're right. Anyhow. Alir moves in to give Chloé a damage boost. So now she kills with her first hit.
I live to fight again.
And now we run down, we engage Micaiah.
Emblem Engage.
And Great Sacrifice to heal everyone back to full. That's a lot of people, by the way. Every single other unit is damaged.
By any means necessary.
Okay. Very nice. Where are we at? I think 21 away from leveling up and 761 SP. So that's what you can get if you do. You get all those heals in, nobody dodges an attack and prevents you from healing them. Pretty awesome. We have Etier north of Boucheron, so that way she supports Alfred when he moves 2 spaces away, so 2 more damage on this attack. This time, Alfred's going to wait in range of Tyrande again, but we can chain guard for him because Frame's back to full. Okay. And everyone else can just wait and we'll find out whether Saline dies or not. Yep. Nope, it doesn't realize that resonance takes effect. Funny AI quirks. But yeah, like, if the AI knew what it was doing, it would have been better to equip a sword before Warp Ragnarocking over here so that I wouldn't activate resonance.
Yes.
So yeah, as you can see, with the 1 point of damage from resonance, Saline would have died, but Tyrande did not go for it. Doesn't Saline have more Avo than Alfred? Oh, that could be true too. Because Alfred's damaged, he sees a kill on them both. Does he? 28 attack. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, yeah. He's just easier to kill. Ah, tricky. Okay, so you should equip the sword anyway, because if Alfred wasn't damaged for whatever reason, like he dodged Tyrande's counterattack, then he would see lethal on Saline, but not Alfred, and he should go for Saline. Doesn't Resonance not activate if you die from it? No, it doesn't activate if you have more than... if you have 1 HP, exactly. So it can... its initial 1 damage cannot kill you because it won't activate if you're only on 1 HP, but otherwise, yeah, it can definitely contribute to your death. Okay. Well, that's one hot tip there. Equip the sword before you jump over here so you don't kill yourself with Resonance. We'll heal Alfred 1 more time, which allows Alfred to attack again. This is pretty meaningless for SP purposes or experience because we've decayed Tyrande's experience rewards by a lot. He gets 2. But it's still helpful for bond ranks. So if Alfred canters to the south, that opens up the space for Chloé, where she can go over and attack from here while being huddled in this group of other damaged units. Don't know why Resonance is as expensive as Mag +2. It is pretty weird. But hey, Resonance has the upside of setting up more Makai healing, right? Anyhow, Louis is going to run away, and we'll have Vander take this attack. The advantage of getting Vander wounded is that he's a higher level, so he gives more experience on healing than when he gets healed than Louis does. Actually, before we do that, let's get chain attacks going as well. We don't want too many of these, but we do want some.
Need some help?
Okay, so now we've got these 4 units in a T shape. We're all wounded. Move that TA out of the way. If we did need more damage for some reason, we could chip with the longbow, but we shouldn't. We can have Saline and Alir work together along with Boucheron's chain attacks to finish the job. So we'll just move out of the way. And now Yunaka can heal 5 people. That was worth another 69 experience. And now we're down to just Alir and Celine. Alir could attack if we needed to for some reason. Again, it's another place where we could get more chip damage if we had to. But we shouldn't. Celine, if she echoes with Seraphim, well, Fire is more accurate. She can't do this unsupported because she will die, as we've seen. But if Alir moves over, she takes 1 less damage and then she does live. Or she could die. She could dodge as well. But she'll get 9 damage. Well, a little bit less because of the multiplication on what's it called? Echo. But with 1 chain attack from Boucheron, this should be fine. Or if she uses Seraphim, that's sufficient as well. Okay, so we'll echo once, and then finish with the second echo. This gives no experience whatsoever, I believe. Yeah, but again, it does count for bond rank. And there we go.
I'll take this.
That's should be level 9 on Saline, and also bond rank 9 with Celica, I believe. Here's our level up. There's our talisman. There's our bond level 8. There's our defeat 30 Thieves achievement. Our favorite food on Saline. And we're through. So yeah, Chloé was absolutely the MVP of this map. And let's go, once we load up the post-battle map, we'll check out the squad and see just how much progress we actually made.
That's the last of the bandits. You've been a huge help, Yunaka. If not for you, we'd be scratching our heads in an empty shrine right about now.
These scenes sound really funny when you fast forward.
Good.
Good. Okay, I'm going to grab my bond fragments and my 40 iron ingots. Again, that's doubled because of my investment in Firene. Both of those are. We also need to grab our pigeon. Hello. And our second dog. And lastly, we should have a cat, I think. Alright, that's all we have to pick up here. So where do we stand? We've got Alir, not quite at level 9, because we really didn't give her much experience at all this last map. I think she got like 12, roughly. But that wasn't the point. We really wanted to defeat Chloé, and she got from about halfway to level 7. She hadn't leveled up before at all. She was at level 6, her base level. She's gotten essentially 400 experience and 400 SP out of this map. She's already at promotion level. So if we do Anna's map or Chapter 7 next, we can promote her right after that and be in really, really good shape. Since she's at level 10 bond with Mars, she already has sword proficiency, so she can go straight to Sword Griffin. She's an absolute rock star, and she's really well positioned to do even better as soon as we give her a Master Seal. Yunaka also has earned a lot from this map. She got 330 SP in one chapter. She was at 500 and level 6. Now she's level 9 with 830. This does kind of ruin things if you were hoping to like maybe not have to level Yunaka to 21 before promoting her. Like if you want to do Mage Knight Yunaka or something like that, the only really feasible way to do that is to keep her low level, second seal her to Mage, and then train up that way. And getting 3 extra levels now slows that down significantly. But, I mean, she has a lot of utility right now. She's well on her way to Canter. She's got pretty good stats, like 9 strength, 14 speeds, really good. Surprising amount of bulk for a thief. I don't think this really positions her to hold up in the long term, but I don't think Yunaka really has the greatest prospects of that anyway. And it does make her a really great utility unit for a long time. And if you want to use her with Byleth for covert rallying, she's going to have Canter really quickly. She does a good job at that. Let's see. Louis is at 6.37 now. Hasn't seen a lot of training, but, you know, he was useful for blocking people. He's doing fine. Salene's at level 9, 9.13, with 713 SP because she's had an emblem for her entire existence. She is also pretty close to having Canter. The trouble for her and also Chloé is that they start at kind of higher levels. So unlike Alir, they can't have Canter SP already by level 8. But she's gotten a lot of training in. She's well ahead of Clan now, who is still at level 1. He's got 1.96. We haven't leveled him up at all. So she's definitely our best mage for the time being. And if we continue using her through Chapter 7, she's going to be competitive with Citrine as the primary mage combatant. She's going to have less mag, but she's faster. They both promote and get stabs, so that's, you know, pretty much a wash. But Selene gets to do that and also retain sword access, which is pretty cool with Sigurd in particular, if you want to go that route. So she's in really good shape. I think I mentioned before earlier, she doesn't have the greatest magic and speed growths, which makes her subpar as an actual, you know, mage carry who is supposed to one round a bunch of enemies with bondage shield setups and everything. But she'll have Canter really quickly, which is a nice advantage over Citrine, although it's not as relevant now in 1.3.0 as it used to be. And generally, I think she's just keeping up. She's holding her own very nicely. And there's a lot of really cool stuff she can do with Emblem Rings, with her stat spread at this point in the game. Boucheron. He participated in one round of combat in this map, and that was when he got broken on enemy phase. I discussed before, I don't think as a unit, I don't think his prospects are very good. Especially now, because we haven't been training him. But, as I described much earlier in the stream, if you do want to use someone like Boucheron, now is your time to start working on that. Because there's no particular reason why you have to keep Micaiah on Yunaka. You could just throw that on Boucheron and train him up, or whoever else you want, starting now. Or if you wait a little bit, this is not as relevant for Boucheron because he's fine with the starting class, but you could wait till after, till much later to get after Chapter 8, if you delay some of the paralogs, and then do reclassing with some other characters, if you don't want to level them in their starting classes. It's not that important for Boucheron or Etier. Etier is fine leveling up in Archer, and then she does want to go to Warrior and not Sniper or Bow Knight, but you can train her up in Archer just fine. That doesn't make a big difference. Alfred is nearly level 10 already, despite not having Mercurius. And just like on this mission, the fact that he has pretty good strength and actually now ties Vander in speed and defense. He is exact same speed, defense as Vander and strength, but just in a package that can actually level up and has a different weapon type. That makes him pretty powerful. going forward. So one thing I hope to explore in a future stream is going straight into Chapter 7 and showing off some of the crazy stuff you can pull off with Alfred there, now that he's been trained up quite a bit. Fram has been a perfectly serviceable healer, and that's all she's had to be. I think Fram is one of those characters who does benefit, like who can benefit from powering through Chapter 8 and then using second seals to reclass at a low level into something else. Fram has respectable offensive growth of both types, and she has, I think, the highest personal speed growth in the game, which isn't, neither of those things are really well supported by being in Martial Monk, but Martial Monk is fine to level in if you want to make her a mage, like a mage knight, because it does have a good magic growth. But if you want to do something physical with Fram, which is viable, it's not going to be the greatest thing ever, but it is possible. You can delay until after Chapter 8, get a second seal, and put her into something like Axe Fighter, and level up in that, which has some interesting possibilities. But those are not quite as powerful as doing the same thing with Clan. Because Clan has he has one higher speed base than Fram, has slightly lower speed growth, but has a higher build growth to compensate, and has a better strength growth. So if you take Clan out of Mage at level 1, and you make him an Axe Fighter, it looks like there's lots of interesting possibilities for him, which I do want to explore in the future. So Clan not getting any levels is not like a death sentence for him. I think there's very good prospects for him if you want to go for it still. But not leveling up is kind of a boon in his case, if you want to go that route. And at this point, since we focused everything into Saline for what I think are perfectly sound reasons, he has really no hope of catching up to her and becoming as competent as a mage knight as Saline can be in Vidam. So I would say if you want to take Clan from here, it would be reclassing him and doing something else with him. Vander has been doing Vander things. He's been perfectly adequate. There's not much else to say about him. I do want to explore what you can do with the SP books from the Wells, from the Ancient Well on him. Because that opens up some stuff that wasn't possible before. He's not actually very good to invest in though. And then Alir, yeah, we're ready for Cantor just as soon as we have the bond fragments for it. I think we technically could have bought it already. We could have paid to raise Sigurd to level 5 and inherited it. But it wasn't really needed in this chapter. And if the bond fragments continue to be very tight, because frankly, we probably want to take Marth off of Chloé and give him to someone else pretty soon, now that she's over-leveled relative to the rest of the cast. That's going to cost us close to 1900 bond fragments again. That's going to drain most of our reserves. We might not be able to afford Cantor again, but when we're ready for it and we have the fragments to spare, we're ready to go. When do you get access to the well? I believe it's after this chapter. So you can run it, you can throw things in after this chapter, and then you get rewards from it after the next map. But anyhow, to wrap this up, we're going to depart from here. We should get our bond fragments, 450. When we arrive at the Somnia, we'll check in on our finances, and then we'll sign off. All right. So yeah, we are at 985 bond fragments. We'll get several more from pickups around the Somniel and from achievements. We've actually gotten some pretty hefty achievements at this point. And from here, we can go on to Paralog 1 or Paralog 2 or Chapter 7. All of which I think have their own merits depending on which units you want to use. And like whether you want to delay some of those paralogs for after second seals or anything like that. But we're going to explore those possibilities next time. So I will save my progress. And that's it for this stream. So thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate your participation. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll come back to this at some point, hopefully soon, to go look at some of our future prospects.